Derby County have secured the signing of 36-year-old versatile defender Erik Pieters. He comes to Derby County after an inexperienced spell at Luton Town. I say it's inexperienced because he did not make a single appearance. He had a few appearances on the bench, one of which was Luton Town's 2-1 victory at Kenilworth Road over Derby County. And since his deal expired at Luton Town, he spent a little bit of time at Middlesbrough. This then opened the door for Derby County as a deal was never agreed with Middlesbrough, and Erik Pieters has now ended up signing for the Rams. Now, obviously, over the course of his career, he's had a long and lengthy career. He's now 36 years old, standing at 1.83 metres tall, a Dutch international, making 18 appearances. He's listed as a centre-back, however, he can play in a wide range of different positions. And with Derby County's injury worries, that is something which is absolutely massive. Now, if you've listened to his interview with Owen Bradley on Rams TV, it appears that he's been at Derby County for a couple of weeks now, which is obviously massively important as we head into this final 8 games of the season. I've got a championship predictions video coming out tomorrow morning, so make sure you do check that one out. But Erik Pieters has played 310 appearances at left back, 7 goals, 21 assists, 53 at centre back, 25 at left wing back, 8 at right wing back, and 1 at right back. Now, as I was saying earlier about him being at Derby County already, it seems as if he's begun to learn the lads and learn what John Eustace is trying to do at Derby County, and that's obviously something that's massively, massively important for the club. Now, obviously, our injury problems have been an issue, and Erik Pieters, for me, is someone who can come in, and I'm not saying he's necessarily going to come in and set the world alight, but since 2011... he's had, 5-6 injuries, one of which was a knee injury, which kept him out for 14 games. And he had a couple of metatarsal fractures back in 2011, but since then has seemed to be all okay. And that's what's important for Derby County. Now, obviously, signing this deal to come and play for Derby County, I'm not necessarily going to turn around and say that he's going to jump straight into the starting lineup or anything like that, but I certainly believe he will have an impact on the squad, and I do believe he will play some games between now and the end of the season. I think he's in pretty similar boat to that of Jeff Hendrick. Now, obviously, Pieters has been in and around a first team picture across the course of this season, whereas Jeff Hendrick probably wasn't as he headed in to Derby County. Now, he obviously joined at the left back position. He joins Callum Elder and Ben Osborne. Obviously, Osborne currently out injured. In the centre back position, he joins the likes of Matt Clark, Nat Phillips, Sondre Langas, and Craig Forsyth. Obviously, with Ryan Yamby pulling out at right back, he's sort of filling a right back slot potentially over the course of the next few weeks. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this one does develop. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to look at this and go, another 36-year-old, another player who hasn't played over the course of the last year. But the important thing about this for me is the experience. He's played for Luton, he's played for Stoke, he's played for West Brom, he's played for Burnley. He understands England, and for me, he's made a ton of appearances, 225 at Premier League level, 79 in the Championship, 144 in the Eredivisie. The most appearances he's made for a club is Stoke City, where he made 206, scoring 3 goals, 11 assists. And for me, I don't think he's coming in to be sort of a main defender for us. I don't think he's coming in to sort of start every single game. He's coming in to plug holes that could potentially pop up over the course of the next few weeks. Now, this could also mean that Derby County have suffered an injury over the course of the last couple of weeks during this international break, which would obviously be devastating for Derby County to lose a player that could potentially be, it could be Callum Elder, it could be Craig Forsyth, it could be Matt Clark, Nat Phillips. That would be devastating for Derby, and that's something that we won't know until John Eustace does his press for the game versus Preston North End next week. But for me, I think this is a great signing. Adds a ton of experience to the squad, which we do have experience in the squad, but there's never too much experience for me. You can never have too many experienced bodies in the building, and I think he's someone that would certainly add to that level. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he's ever been a captain, but judging by the way he speaks in his interview and just watching him play as I have done in previous seasons when he's played for the likes of Burnley, West Brom and Stoke City, it's one of those where I think he can certainly fill a hole and certainly fill that sort of leadership role off the pitch if that's necessary and if that's what's required of him. Now, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it sounds as if he's been at Derby County for the last couple of weeks, which I think is absolutely massive because it means that over the course of maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's got himself sort of integrated within the squad, and John Eustace has seen enough from him for that he should come in and should be a Derby County player. Now, this obviously isn't something which I think will turn into another contract at the end of the season. However, we don't know. It could, if he turns out to be a Curtis Davis regen, essentially, where he's absolutely unbelievable over the course of this 8-game stretch. There's no reason why Derby County can't sort of give him another 6 months, another year, pretty similar to what Stoke did with Phil Jagielka. Obviously signed from Derby on 6 months, then gave him another 6 months, and then another 6 months, and eventually he then retired. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that Erik Pieters will want to do. I'm not saying it's something that Derby County would even want to do, because obviously heading into the summer, whether we've gone down or stayed up, you want to sort of be adding those younger bodies, and I do think that's something which Derby County will be looking at over the course of the next few weeks. But obviously you cannot sort of take away any of the experience he's had, especially even at the international level. 18 caps for the Netherlands, which is massively important. Now, when was his last appearance? That's what many of you may be asking, and realistically, it depends what you consider as an appearance, because he was sat on the bench for Luton Town a couple of times just before January, and obviously that isn't necessarily playing, but it means he was obviously fit and available, which is kind of important for me, I think. The fact that he was potentially available to play for Luton Town, a team who are obviously not necessarily in the greatest of positions with that of Derby County down there at the bottom of the Championship. But obviously the fact he didn't make an appearance is probably a bad thing. But it's one of those where Luton Town sort of picked him up because of injuries, and he was able to sort of plug a gap for them on the bench for the time being. He's obviously won a few trophies in his time as well. He's won a couple of under-21 championships. He's won a couple of Super Cups in the Netherlands, and he's won another Dutch Cup as well out there. He's represented by the Unique Sports Group, and at 36 years old, I don't really think you can sort of take much away from him. I think he has a lot of quality that he can add to this Derby County side, and I think putting him alongside a Craig Forsyth, alongside a Matt Clark, alongside a Nat Phillips, potentially even a Sondre Langas, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Now, it is that situation where we've not playing for a year. How ready is he going to be to step in? Obviously, he mentions in his pre-match, well, it's not even pre-match, is it? It's just his introduction press conference. He mentions in that he spent time at Middlesbrough and spent time at Luton, which obviously we knew about. And that is obviously a positive for me, that he spent time at Luton, he spent time at Middlesbrough, because that means that he has been keeping himself football fit. And I think that means he's probably one step ahead of the likes of Kemar Roof, who came in with 8 months without a club, Jeff Hendrick, who came in the same sort of circumstance. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I think this could be a decent sign-in. But if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, and I'll catch you in my next video.